Good morning. We're here today at the Evergreen Senior Center in the Colonia section of town to talk about a fund drive that we have established for the victims of yesterday's tragic plane crash on Berkeley Avenue, Colonia. There were 3 families impacted. 84 Berkeley, the house was completely destroyed. 80 and 88, the houses were severely damaged and are both uninhabitable. We are told, we talked to the families yesterday, all 3 have shelter for the night. 2 were put up by their insurance companies. 1 stayed with family members, so we are certain that they are taken care of. We are collecting donations of checks made out to the Woodbridge Community Charity Fund, which is a 501c3 corporation that we've had for several years to deal with instances like this. We will also take gift cards from major chains, recognizing that they live in Colonia. Virtually every major chain is nearby in Woodbridge Township or in our surrounding towns. We will also take cash donations. They're being collected here at the Evergreen Senior Center at 400 Inman Avenue. It is open normally from 8:30 to 4:30 weekdays. It will be open until 8:30 the next 3 nights, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We have volunteers that will staff those hours. It will be open Saturday 9 to 5. And we just today decided to extend the drive into Sunday because a couple of houses of worship called us up and they want to let their members know to bring cards and to bring cash and to bring checks at their normal Sunday services. So we will be collecting until Sunday, and then Monday we will divide the money up and deliver it to the families. Just a quick update on the situation. The pilot has been identified as Dr. Michael Schloss from Florida, a 74-year-old cardiologist who was apparently flying from Leesburg, Virginia to Linden Airport for some kind of medical conference in New York City. He's been identified. The body has been removed from the site. It is now at the county medical examiner's office for whatever they have to do to confirm the identity and to try to determine the cause of death. The National Transportation Safety Board is on site and they have control of the site. Our public works crews are out there assisting. Our backhoe is out there and other equipment to help them retrieve the plane. The plane is largely intact, but there are pieces, and of course with an accident like this, every little piece matters. So they're going through a painstaking process of getting the plane out so they can properly do an investigation and determine the cause of the crash or how that might have impacted it. So the good news is that, again, nobody was hurt on the ground. We want to express our condolences to the family of the pilot. It's a tragic accident. I'm thankful that the Woodbridge residents are safe. We recognize that it's right around the corner from a grammar school. The daughter of the family at the house that was hurt the worst is a 6-year-old at the school, and she was in school when it happened. Apparently she's doing okay. It's tough for any family anytime, but with a 6-year-old it's especially difficult. It's really tough to explain what happened. So we feel for the families, and we're going to do everything we can to help them, not just with donations, but whatever they might need. This is a town, Woodbridge Township, that's had probably more than our share of instances of tragedies and fires and sicknesses and illnesses and other issues. And the people of Woodbridge always come through. To my left is Councilwoman Debbie Meehan. She is the councilwoman in Colonia. She has handled so many different cases of people who are in dire straits. And she's run spaghetti dinners with the Colonia VFW and the Colonia Firehouse. She's run pancake breakfast. She's run all kinds of different drives. To my right is Carolyn Ehrlich, my current chief of staff, who's a former councilwoman from Colonia, who's assisting me in all these different issues. So again, please say a prayer for the pilot and his family, and please thank God that the damage wasn't worse on the ground.
John, what you mentioned, insurance does cover a lot of this. Theoretically, it would cover rebuilding the homes or whatever. What is the financial need of these families then, if they, for the most part, have insurance?
Well, from my experience, insurance covers, the basics. It'll get them a new home, but it can't replace every little thing that they lost. It can't replace every piece of clothes that they lost. It can't replace every piece of furniture. It goes a long way, but it doesn't go all the way. There are always little instances, they're out staying in a hotel and they have, costs of travel. They're taking cars, Ubers, they're getting meals out. The insurance never quite gets you to 100% of what you're out of pocket. So these drives are vitally important because it makes up the difference. And that's what I've noticed from some of these cases in the past.
Mayor, you've been in contact with the families. Can you tell us, like, specifically how each one is doing and what they're saying at this point?
I talked to all three yesterday. I texted the main family, I hate to say the main family, I had texted the family at 84 this morning because somebody asked me if they would want to talk to the media, and I texted them to see, and he says, no, we're still in shock. We don't want to come out and talk right now, which everybody totally understands.
I have a message for him for the hobby game.
Okay, sounds good, thank you. And the other two families, anything new that you've heard?
I just talked to them, and they're both, just happy that they weren't hurt. I spoke to the woman who lives by herself with her two dogs, and she was thrilled that she was thrilled she was home, because had she gone to the store, she gone out, her dogs would not have been alive now. So thank God she was home. The family at 84, there's all kinds of stories that the grandmom of the little girl could have been there and would have been there under normal circumstances, but wasn't. Thank God was not there. But many days at that time, she would have been in that house ready to pick the kid up from school in a few hours. So you look at all these different, instances of just pure luck that this wasn't a whole lot worse.
Why wasn't she there? Did you find out? Was she
Well, what I heard is that the woman, the grandma, I don't know, because I think the mom, covered a shift that she wasn't supposed to cover at work, so she would have been home, and the grandma would have been with her. But the woman had to go to work. It wasn't her normal shift, and she covered somebody and was out of the house, and therefore the grandma wasn't there. Her mom, I don't know if it's her mom or his mom, but wasn't there. What a just amazing stroke of luck that they weren't in that house, because the speed at which the house was completely engulfed was seconds. The plane hit, and instantly everybody said the flames were 50 feet in the air because of the fuel in the plane. So, but that could have been so much worse.
Mayor, you were saying earlier, being the mayor of a town that's close to Linden Airport, Newark Airport, and you were driving over yesterday, you had no idea what kind of plane it was or what you were dealing with.
All I heard was a plane crash in Colonia, house is fully engaged, was the buzzwords from the emergency management people. So as I'm driving there, my first reaction is, I don't know what the heck happened. As we got closer, we got more calls and realized what it was a small plane. It was 3 homes. But this is a small neighborhood. The houses are, reasonably close together. It could have been worse. Our emergency crews were terrific. The Colonia Fire Department, which is a volunteer fire department, was out on drills. They were together. They were in a unit. So they were there in, under 5 minutes, closer to 2 minutes. The call came in at 10:58, and they were there. Thank God for that, because if they had to wait for a crew to assemble, or one of the paid crews that were in the houses elsewhere in Woodbridge, like the Woodbridge Township Fire District, which got there second, those minutes were precious in terms of containing the damage to just 3 homes. So, boy, you look back on all these little instances and say, but for this, it could have been worse of a tragedy. It could have led to loss of life and much more damage, loss of property.
I got here a few minutes late, so I apologize if you answered this, but I know the fundraiser, the fund drive just began today. Have you seen any early donations so far?
Oh, I was standing here waiting for everybody to assemble, and people were walking by me saying hello and welcome with checks in their hand and cash in their hand.
So what do you say about the community that they're not here?
If you live in Woodbridge and something bad happens to you, you will be thankful you live in Woodbridge, because our people, our residents, thanks to Debbie and other council people, Carol, our residents just step it up. We just had a fire in the Caseby section of town last year. 20 apartments were burned. Nobody was allowed to move back in. People left with what they were wearing. And we had events, and we gave over thousands of dollars to the victims. There's all kinds of, we've had our share, I'm sure, no more than anybody else. But we've had our share of events and tragedies. And every time, people from Woodbridge step up and help the people in need.
Can I just add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a question anyway. Go ahead. Step up to the microphone, please.
I've been a councilwoman here in Colonia now, and this community is unbelievable. The entire township of Woodbridge is amazing. But Colonia it has this little niche about it, and when something happens, the residents of Colonia come out to support each other time after time after time. And I don't need to reach out to them to get them to help. Walking through the scene yesterday, there were people asking, what are we going to do? Is there going to be spaghetti dinner? The phone's been ringing off the hook. Everybody in this community has really just stepped up and wanted to help each other, because that's the kind of community Woodbridge Township and Colonia is.
Right before we started, I got a
Yeah.
text from a guy at the Avenel Knights of Columbus saying, do you want us to engage for a spaghetti dinner already? So that's the
Yeah.
kind of community we have.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask Debbie. I mean, how do you outreach to people to get that kind of response?
You know what? I don't have to outreach because they see it, and for some reason, they call me up, and it just, it forms together. And we've had spaghetti dinners where we've had hundreds and hundreds of people have come for every different kind of tragedy. It's just what we do. People know that if something happens, we call the VFW, the Colonia Fire Department, the American Legion. We assemble over at Colonia Fire Department, and we come together as a community to help each other.
It's not unusual for Debbie to have a spaghetti dinner that raises $20,000 just from a spaghetti dinner and a tricky tray.
And you know what, one of the nice things is, all these people that we've helped through the years, they always come back. And the kids that had cancer that are well, they come back and they serve spaghetti to somebody else that's going through another tragedy. So it just repeats itself, and the kindness always pays forward here.
Mayor, you said that in the house that was hit by the plane, they have a 6-year-old daughter
Right,
who was at the elementary school.
right.
Did she, when you talked to her parents, did they mention that she understood the
I had a conversation with them about that. I probably want to keep that private.
okay.
They're concerned about their kid, but the way they handle it, I'm impressed with the way they're thinking and how they're handling it, but it's too personal to really get into.
One other question I had. Right behind that house is the Enbridge natural gas transmission line. Same one that blew up in Durham Woods 2+ decades ago. I saw an Enbridge crew out there yesterday. Obviously, they had to check the integrity of the pipeline. Have you had any communication with Enbridge yet? Do you have any concerns about the review they will do of that pipe to make sure that vibrations didn't cause any cracks?
I have not had any conversations with Enbridge. Certainly, that's something we should be concerned about, but I have not personally heard from them, nor have I tried to reach them. It's less than 24 hours that it happened, so I'm sure we will have that conversation shortly.
Remember, Elizabethtown was on scene yesterday.
Elizabethtown Gas was on scene. They shut off the gas to enough homes. PSE&G was on the scene. They shut off electric to all the homes. In fact, when they shut off the grid, PSE&G, the school went out, which shows you just how close that school was to the site, that it's on the same electric grid. 400 homes lost power temporarily, including the school. So that's how close that was, and that's how close we came to a monumental, devastating tragedy if that went off course a little farther.
Very good. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you very much.